Welcome to the Birth Breakdown, a mini-sode series from Her Birth, Her Story. These short episodes are here to open conversations around pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Things I believe every woman deserves to look into, to question, and just to feel empowered by. This isn't about telling you what to do or what's right and what's wrong. It's about giving you space to think, to learn, and to trust yourself a little bit more as you prepare for your birth. Let's break it down. On today's episode of the Birth Breakdown, we are jumping right into active labor. Last week, we talked about the first stage, which is early labor. So now we're in the second stage of labor, which is active labor. This is the stage that most people think of when they imagine labor. This is where it starts to get really real. So what is active labor? Active labor typically begins around 5 to 6 centimeters dilation and goes to about 8. Your contractions are a lot stronger, longer, closer together, and more rhythmic. So you will feel it and then it will go away. And then you'll feel it and then it'll go away. And you'll likely stop being able to talk through them and have to really start focusing. So what's happening to you during this time? Your cervix is obviously still dilating. Your endorphins are starting to increase and you may start entering labor land. That is a deep inward focus where you really have to keep your thoughts captive, focus on the contraction at hand. Your baby is continuing to rotate to get into that optimal position and continuing to descend in your pelvis. This is where the pressure in your pelvis starts to increase, and this might be a time where position changes can make a huge difference in your labor. And this is where labor becomes undeniable. You know, without a doubt, you are in labor. From a medical perspective, this is when hospital admission usually happens, or this is when you're encouraged to go to the hospital. Pain management discussions will start to increase where you are going to be asked what kind of things you're wanting for your pain management, and if that's an epidural or what that might look like. Your monitoring becomes even more frequent in the hospital, and honestly, during this time, many interventions are introduced during this stage. But just remember, they don't have to be automatic. So this is where that informed decision making is what matters most. So all of the preparation that you did, this is great for the people in your birth team, whether that's your husband, your mom, a doula, or your sister, or whoever, that they can really stand in that gap for you to make sure that any of the interventions that you are not wanting, you do not receive. And it's also nice just to have somebody stand firm for you, because you are now in labor land. And when you are in labor land, mentally, you have to be in a certain state, a certain type of focus to where you are just focusing on your active labor. So it's nice to have somebody in your birth plan that can help you with those. So this is where all of that preparation is key. Your birth plan is key when it comes to denying or accepting any interventions that they are wanting to give you. From a holistic perspective, active labor is about rhythm and surrender. Your body knows what it's doing, but your environment either helps you or it can hinder that. So some things that support active labor is going to be low stimulation, minimal interruptions, and just continuous support. This is why doulas and a strong support team matters the most. Some things that I want my first-time moms to know is that this is typically when doubt and fear starts to creep in, because everything is starting to feel a lot quicker. There's less time in between contractions to kind of reset for the next one. This is where it starts feeling pretty intense. And so during this time, you may start to doubt what you're doing, or you could be fearful about what's to come. And also know that time distortion is normal. And during this time, you may want to quit. And that doesn't mean that you can't do this, because I promise you, You can do this. It takes focus. It takes breathing the right way through your contractions and surrendering to every single contraction that comes. A lot of moms think if it gets hard, something must be wrong. But intensity does not mean danger, it just means progress. So this stage responds really well to that counter pressure on the hips, swaying or slow dancing, the rocking back and forth, whether you're using a birth ball, just standing in place, using your partner. The birth ball can be really beneficial to some moms. Hands and knees positions, deep vocal breathing, and don't forget to make sure that you're hydrating because hydration is huge here as well. And encouragement matters more than you even realize. Words like "you're doing it," "your baby's coming" can just really be incredibly grounding to help continue to push you through because you are so close. Active labor often strips away performance. You stop trying to look strong and you just become super primal. This is where many moms meet a version of themselves that they have never even met before, and it is just so powerful. Active labor is the bridge. You had your early labor, now we're into active labor, and this is bridging into the peak, which is transition. So next we are going to be talking about the transition phase, the most intense, the most misunderstood, and the shortest stage of labor. That's all for today's birth breakdown. If this episode sparked curiosity, affirmed something you've been feeling, or gave you a new perspective, I'd love for you to share it with another mom or mom-to-be who might need it. Make sure you're following Her Birth, Her Story, and if you feel called, leaving a review is one of the best ways to support this space, and it helps these conversations reach more women. Until next time, remember, this is your body, your baby, and your story. We are reclaiming birth one story at a time.